What's up, guys? It's Josh from Cardfight Empire here today, and we are here at the Bushiroad Jacksonville Regionals with Mr.
Nick Ward.
Nick Ward. All right, he got second place. Want to tell us a little about your experience and how you like the event and etc.
It was a pretty good experience. Enjoyed playing Chaos. Got everything you said, pretty much sums it up. Had fun. Got second place. Lost really hard at first place. Guy's a bit of a douche. This guy recording. But other than that, had fun. It was a good game. Yeah, it was great.
All right. How did your matchups go throughout the yesterday and today?
Most of my matchups went very well quickly. It's chaos. It's either I shut them down or I don't. I lost 3 games in the entire tournament. I lost the Ripples because I got rushed before I can turn on.
Ripples, really?
Yeah, I lost the Ripple Rush. It was a Ripple Thavas hybrid, and I locked him down, but before I could start drawing cards, he put a 26k attacking unit with the crit in the back row, and I just didn't have the hand to stop it, so I lost.
Wow. I didn't even know that people played Ripples anymore.
I know. And then I lost to you twice, which I joke about you being a douche, but it was great. I enjoyed it. So
I enjoyed my matches with you, too. Do you want to talk about you played Chaos, right?
Yes.
All right, do you want to talk about that?
Yes.
Let's just make sure you put your cards back. Yeah,
all right.
There you go.
So I ran 3 Chaos Breaker Dragon. The reason why I only run 3 is because I prefer not to hardwrite him. I would prefer to go into him from Chaos Bringer. The only matchup where I prefer to ride Breaker is against Gears, and every other matchup I prefer to go into Bringer, so that way I can get an extra soul and then out my deck a little bit. Which leads me into 4 Bringer. Because it's the preferred first ride. Locks unit in the back row, becomes big, or becomes Chaos Breaker. Just overall good card.
Did you enjoy using that because mostly because people's starters, or just in general they always had a back row?
They almost always have a back row. Locks a starter. I mean, there's so little wrong with it besides for limit break and having to have 2 things. But even then, if you go first, you lock their starter. You go second, you lock something in the back row, and then Universe will lock something and you have your 2. So it thins the deck. Yeah, it thins the deck and it locks stuff, and then next turn I draw cards. And also I don't have to discard the lock, so it's also a preferred ride. And then I also ran 2 Garnet Stars. The reason why I ran 2 Garnet Stars is because as the game has progressed, there are a lot of decks that can defend themselves a lot better than they used to. And I lost quite a few games in the past due to decking out. Tried teching 1, always damage checked it or pushed it into soul. So I upped it to 2, and it's actually the reason why I won one of my games. I had to perform Legion twice to beat one of the Neo Nectar players.
So do you find yourself like legioning it back? Like, do you take a Garnet Star and then you legion another Garnet Star back into your deck so you can re-legion? Or
that's one of the great things about Legion is that you have options, and I can pick to do it if it came down to it. But at that point, I've never had a game where that's happened. And also in the game where I did have to perform Legion twice, which in the year and like 2 months that I've been running this deck, that was the only game I've ever performed Legion twice in.
Okay.
So I mean it's an option, but at that point, like I was poking him down to a point where I knew he can survive another couple turns.
Right. That's pretty interesting. 9 grade 3s.
Yeah, I took out a grade 1. I took out a Shrine Enabler for an extra grade 3 because worst case scenario is if I'm not going to go that far into a game, I can just pitch him to Stride.
Okay. Yeah, it reminds me of Overlord. 9 grade 3s.
I ran 1 Iron. The reason why he's in 1 of is because I like to pretend that he is a 5th Photon. He's also an 11k attacker, which isn't bad.
I was about to say, you always had it against me.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you ran 4.
I like to pretend he's a 5th Photon, but other than that, that's 11k attacker's not bad. Lock something for a counterblast. And if I need to, I can just drop him and start poking the opponent's Vanguard.
Okay.
So a lot of people hate this card, but I love it, and I'm probably gonna butcher its name. Mulipon. Counterblast 2, lock from hand. I run the Unflip Perfect Guard as well as I run 4 of the Soul Charge 2, Counter Charge 2. It takes a card out of my opponent's hand. If I know that my opponent's not calling stuff purposely to make a column to attack me and do combo plays, like when I was playing against Spike Bros, that was something that happened today. I bring her 1 column. Yeah, if they don't call anything, I bring her 1 column. this the second, and then they don't get their call-in plays, and then at that point I can just lock them out for the rest of the game. The only downside is an 8K and it's 2 counterblast, which is really resource heavy, but I have a lot of counter charge, and at that point counterblast is definitely worth the cost of stopping my opponent from playing the game.
I agree. There's a couple times you triple triangle locked me, and I just had to attack with Vanguard for like I don't know how many turns.
Yeah. When your Vanguard attack, I prayed.
Yeah.
Colony Maker, because Sword Me is good. It allows me to get combo pieces. It allows me to make a 16K column. Sword Me is good.
Okay.
4 photons. So fun story. I have 8 photons. 4 of this rarity, 4 of this one.
Oh.
Accidentally left this at my house on the way here and just had to grab this and put it in the deck.
Oh, okay.
But it's a lock for free.
Okay.
So that in and of itself is good, because the entire point of Chaos is to lock them out of the game, get advantage, and stop them from playing. So this card helps out with that significantly. And also, he's the mate of my other grade 3.
Okay.
2 limit break enablers. So when I got first place at Team League with this a year ago, something that happened multiple times was that I would play this, something would kill it, and then I would have to take damage to get to limit break, which I mean it worked out at the time because G guards didn't exist, and our team got first place, so that helped out. But pretty much went from experience that said this is one of is a bad idea because he's too important. There are a lot of games where I'll try to stay at 3 damage, 2 to 3 damage, so that way I can, if the game winds up going on too long, I can, and I can't lock them out or I can't kill them, and it gets to a point where a big, very scary Vanguard comes at me. If I stay at 2 or 3 damage the whole game, then I can just take the hit and be fine. It also happened against Spike Bros. It got to a point to where I wasn't able to kill him before he was able to get his Crush Rush online, but I had so few damage that when he did it, I just survived it.
Okay. Yeah, Charcoal's like definitely a useful card in Chaos.
It's really, really important. 4 Zinc, because this deck goes through a ton of resources, and it just kind of fuels the engine. Counter charge 2, soul charge 2. And it's also a rough pot of greed. You draw 2 cards when you kill 2 units, and you need the soul to do that. 3 Stride Enablers. Dropped 1 for the 3rd Garnet Star, or sorry, for the 2nd Garnet Star. It's a Stride Enabler in Stride format.
So you said you ran 3 Stride Fighters because you ran 9 grade 3s, right?
Yes.
So you basically dropped a grade 3 for, or dropped a Stride Fighter for extra grade 3.
Yes.
Okay.
4 Cosmo Race, because it's an unflipping perfect guard. The reason why I chose not to go with the Star Vader one is because there are 2 non-Star Vader cards in this deck, so the Soul Blasting Star Vaders isn't really an issue. If I do Soul Charge this, then it sucks, but oh well. I'd rather have the counter charge. 4 heals, because obviously. And then because I'm playing a deck with probably one of the most efficient, probably the 2nd most efficient draw engine in the game. 12 crit, because draw triggers make me kill myself. If you put draw triggers in this deck, then decking out is a huge issue, and you already have a strong enough draw engine. There's no reason to put any other triggers in here.
Right.
Also, this one shovels back in the deck and locks something, so that's great.
Yeah, that card's super good.
So good.
Especially when you do the play where you lock with Chaos and then you Photon and you lock the other front row and then you use the crit trigger. So I think even one game of ours, you used the starter to search the crit trigger,
yes,
and then locked my starter.
Yes.
That was a really good play.
And then I have Carbon, because this is the best starter. It's just search any grade 1 you want, get any combo PC1, or get your limit break enabler to make sure your engine turns online. With Chaos, there's the setup in this deck is just so efficient. There's no reason why you shouldn't have your engine, other than RNGesus.
RNGesus.
4 Universe. Universe is well, he's really good. He locks a card from hand. He takes a card out of your opponent's hand, stops a column. You pick where it goes. It's an overall good stride, and he's the reason why Breaker is so good. And also, if it's 2nd stride or if you G-guard before going into him, then you can lock 2 things. So it's a soft pot of greed, and it locks your opponent out of the game. When I say soft pot of greed, I mean hard pot of greed. 4-bit crunch. Omega lock a column, keep my opponent out of the game a little bit longer, and then when those cards do come unlocked, draw more cards. For the mirror match that I haven't played in like a year. Yeah, I run Amnesty for the mirror match. That way, if I come up against Chaos or if I go up against all Messiahs, even though I auto lose the Messiahs, I still stand a chance, kind of. And also, if I go against Chaos, it's pretty much who has the most Amnesties wins.
Okay.
Seabreeze, because really, I don't care about my opponent rushing me, and I don't care about my opponent great sticking me, but a really cool play that you can do with Seabreeze is that if your opponent fails to get to grade 3, you go to Chaos Breaker, use Chaos Breaker's effect, lock something, and then pay the cost to go into him. You can do it's an act ability,
right? So
you can do it in your main phase. So you can lock something with Chaos Breaker and then stride, and it's just overall really good.
Because you get to dig deeper into your deck, right?
Yes. And then Blizza, because Link Joker has no finishers, or at least in Chaos they have no finishers.
Final strat used against me.
Yeah. You made me do the math when you had a perfect card. For my G guards, I have Aghalim because drop and draw is really good. Dismal. It's because the reason why I run Dismal is because it gives something Shroud. And before Fighters Collection comes out, Bushiroad decided to give us nothing but crap Shrides. Also, Maxwell's a traitor. And then I ran 2 Screws.
Okay. So you ran all Cray Elemental G Guardians. That's pretty interesting.
There's no Link Joker G Guard that's worth it.
Right, for you.
Yeah. My most difficult matchup of the day was obviously you. You got turned on and I just couldn't beat you. I had a plan going into playing you, which was to try and cut you out of resources, or cut you out of resources so you couldn't do lure plays. But that didn't work out. You ended up getting a million cards in hand. I just couldn't break through, so that's the reason why I lost against you.
But actually, what you were doing to me was actually like really effective in a way so that I couldn't do plays the way I wanted to, but I had to like find workarounds. Like I had to, let's say, ritual back my starters. That counts as 2 sacrifices and something else, just so that I can call to the only 2 spaces I have, just so I can use Doomed since it requires a 3 sack.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but you definitely played very well. Do you want to talk about like your best matchup? Do you remember like what was your easiest matchup? Do you feel like?
God, guys, I don't want to be mean to anyone. So I'm sorry before saying this because the person who I played against was a cool person. My easiest matchup was Battle Sisters. Besides the fact that it was when I played Battle Sisters, I had a crap hand. She called nothing when she went to grade 3. I go to grade 3, have nothing to lock with Bringer. Nothing to stride with. I have nothing but triggers in my hand. Swing Vanguard. She goes into her turn. She strides. I G guard. And then luckily I top deck what I was able to stride with. And then after that it was just all downhill because I locked her out of the game. That was the most favorable and easiest matchup for me. You were my hardest. The second hardest one that had me running for my money was a Nubatama player. Played him as my second to last game.
Okay, so you're top 4?
Yeah, or no, I'm sorry, of day 1.
Oh, of day one.
Yeah,
okay.
he was my.
So you're round 6 of day 1.
Yeah, because I had 1 loss at that point, so that was my sweat bullet games of can I make it to day 2.
Okay.
There was also a lot up in the air because we didn't know how they were going to do day 2.
Right.
So he ended up eating my hand. I locked him out of the game, which that's just what Chaos does, is you lock your opponent out of the game. So I was able to lock him out of the game, but he still was able to eat a lot of my hands through his strides. But at the end of the day, I just had the better push. All the decks that I played, I remember I played Gears, which I beat Gears by decking it out. I was able to survive Groovy and all their strides.
Did you Legion in that game, just curious?
Did not perform Legion. He just did Urwater a million times, had a ton of cards in hand, and I was like, I know how this is ending.
Right.
So I just stalled out until I won.
Okay.
I played Nubatama, I played Neo Nectar,
I'm surprised the Neo Nectar isn't your easiest matchup.
It wasn't so Neo Nectar actually has a very interesting play that makes it difficult, because one of the ways you beat Chaos is you just outlast it. Which it's very difficult to do, because the thing is that if you're a good Chaos player, you want to make something on both sides if possible. even if it's like a 5K shield, you want to make something to just steadily weed cards out of your hand, because you're not going to instantly win the game on a flashy turn. It's a control deck, and you need to be a steady, long-term control player. So what he did was he goes through first stride, I go through first stride, I lock him out of the game, everything is good to go. And then he goes into the stride, I can't remember her name now, but it's a stride that says counter, when you play something, counterblast, get 2 copies of it from your deck.
Inverno.
And he kept on doing that with the stand trigger and drawing cards.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, so he pretty much drew a ton of cards, and it just made the game last a really long time. I had to perform Legion twice to beat him.
Okay. Was there any like surprise decks that like you faced that caught you off guard that you didn't really see coming, or?
Thavas Ripples.
Thavas Ripples. Okay.
That was my first loss of the day. Like I said, you and Thavas Ripples are the only deck that beat me, and it really caught me off guard because he just rushes me.
Right.
I get to grade 3, I lock everything down. I'm like, sweet, I win, and then he drops the grade 2 that can counterblast, soul blast if you have a Thavas Vanguard and he can restand. He strode into the grade 4 Thavas first, gave that the ability to attack from the rear guard, gave its ability to attack twice, and made it a 26k attacker with the crit. And I didn't have my engine online. He got it. He was just way too aggressive. So he beat me, and he did it the way that Aquaforce is supposed to, just rush really hard and get a ton of attacks and win. So that took me really off guard, but other than that, everything that I played today was kind of expected. I expected to play Gears, I expected to play Shadows. Shadows has the highest win rate in the world, right? And for 2017 at 19%. I also crunched a lot of numbers before coming here. Yeah, Shadows has a 19% win rate, which it's going up thanks to you. Gears has a second highest win rate around 14% at this time. So I expected to say Gears, I expected to see Shadows.
Okay.
And I expected to see a lot of Novas. I didn't play a single Nova player.
Neither did I.
Yeah, actually, with that new stride that came out that says I can attack 3 times with my Vanguard, I was expecting that to be a problem. But then again, that matchup's super favorable with Chaos.
Okay. Because they can't use the new stride against you once you lock down a certain amount of their units.
The entire thing behind the clan is restanding units, and I just don't let them do that.
Okay. Well, was there any more of your matchups that you wanted to talk about, or?
No, that about sums it up. I had a good time. Good luck in Japan.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Is there any shout-outs you wanted to give?
I want to give a shout-out. I don't know his name. Shout-out to the new Batama player. Shout-out to everyone on Team Sunshine. And shout-out to everyone who named their deck after JoJo stands like I did.
All right, man. Well, we're glad you enjoyed the event. Thank you for doing the deck profile with us.
Yeah. Actually, can I throw out one more shout out?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I would like to throw a shout out to Arena Comics. It's our local play shop.
Okay.
Are
you from here, Florida?
No, I'm from Florida. I'm from Panama City.
Okay.
If I didn't have all the play testing at Arena Comics, then I wouldn't have come to this build. So.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you for the deck profile. Like I said, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm glad to have played you. Glad to have met you. You're an awesome person.
It was a pleasure. Thanks.
And thank you so much. All right, guys. I'll catch you guys later. If you guys enjoyed this deck profile, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll check you guys next time. Bye.